Good morning students, welcome back. This is Dr.Shirisha, Associate Professor from CSE Department, MLR Institute of Technology. In this session, we are going to see how form validation is done. In the previous session, we have seen what are the input controls that can be given or that can be used in AngularJS for creating a form. Once a form is created, validation is must. Without validation, you can't access the data promptly or correctly. So, validating the form and form state, input state and form validation with an example program. Okay. Validating form. So, what is validation? Suppose if you are giving a input tag, okay, say if one is the username, okay, username, and the other one will be, say I am taking a email. Okay. So, what I should give here, I should, one more I am taking for phone number. So, these are the three fields that I have. Here I can give some text, okay. Here also I can give some text, @ should be there and followed by xyz.com. And here phone number I can't give again ABC, this is not valid. So, here what I need to give, here 1, 2, 3 should be given, so that it will become valid. So, validation of a form is very important for every application. Whatever the input that user is going to give, we have to check whether that input is valid or not. Okay. So, this is called validation for forms. So, AngularJS offers client-side form validation. Client-side means whatever the user is going to give. AngularJS monitors the state of the form, input fields like input, text area. Input means this one. Text area means multiple lines. Okay. Select means we have discussed now, we will get multiple options. So, here you will have drop down list, okay, or drop down box. Then lets you notify the user about the current state. AngularJS also holds the information about whether they have touched or modified or not. Means whether it is empty or whether the input is given, like that. Okay. This is validating. So, required. If you see in so many registration forms, we will be getting, if this text box is there and you are not filling it and if you are clicking the submit button, it will give you a warning that input is missing or name should be filled. Okay. So, all the mandatory fields should be given the input. So, like that. Those are all the part of the validation in the every application. So, here required means whatever the fields that you are created in the form. So, which fields are very important, which cannot be skipped. So, that will be required. Okay. So, script part we have given with the link here, then ng app, okay, then paragraph is there. And form name we have given as my form, input name is my input, ng model my input, that is required. So, ng model you know, name you know, and input tag you know. Required means just you are writing required as a word inside the tag, input tag. That means what? You are specifying that the name should be given by the user. The input's valid state is. So, you are giving some paragraph and this is the expression. What is the expression? My form. So, name of is my form dot, my input. What is my input? Your input tag. So, that should be valid. So, $valid means what? It is checking whether it is valid or not. Okay. So, when it will get valid? When you are giving the input part. So, if it is empty, then it is true or valid. If you are printing something, that means false, means not valid. Okay. See the output, how it works. For required, it is. Required is what? In the form validation, how to do the form validation. We are telling you using this required. Required means mandatory field. Among n fields, whatever the, wherever you are keeping required, that field will be mandatory. So, just refresh. So, trying writing the input field, the input's valid state is false now. So, it is false. Now, just give some input. So it is getting true. So false and true. So that is how $valid is getting worked. $valid means whether it is saying it is valid or not. It's a state it is going to tell. Like this we have multiple values also, inbuilt values also like $valid, we'll see them. And email. So email, to specify the value, okay, that it must be email. Every one of us know email will be having a iterate symbol in between. So here we have given a link for AngularJS and NG app, then form name, input email, and name my input, ng model my input you have given, and inside the form tag we are giving form.input.valid, and you are just printing, okay, the input's valid state. Note that the state of input field is true before you start writing in it, before it is true, even if does not contain an email address, okay. So here if you see, here if you are not giving anything, it is false. It is not email, just an input. If it is email, it is true. When you are giving the input, it becomes false. See now, this is just for name, it is false, right? Now let me show you email. Okay, I am just refreshing. Okay, see now it is true, but when I give the input, it is getting false. That's the difference between when you are giving email validation and when you are checking the normal text validation. Okay, so that is the difference between email and all. So here input type equal to email, but in the previous session input type is equals to text, I suppose. So input type equals to email, and here input type equals to my input. Okay, that means text, my input, whatever the input that you are going to give. Clear? Next, form state and input state. So AngularJS form validation require the state of your form and input. So to know them, we have some constantly updating the state of both the form and the input fields. So it updates, because when you are clicking it is true, when you are not clicking it is false sometimes. We have seen the difference. So to know that, we have some input fields with these states. $untouched means the field has not been touched yet, means input tag, and you have not given any input here. There is untouched. Touched, the field has been touched here. Okay, giving the input. Pristine has not modified. If you are giving ABC, it is ABC only. It is not modified. And dirty, the field has been modified. So I have added D, the field has been modified. Invalid, the field content is not valid. $valid, the field content is valid. If you see in the previous sessions, we have seen whether the given input is valid or not by using $valid. Along with this, I told you there are a number of other input fields also. So those are untouched, touched, pristine, and dirty, invalid. Okay, they are all the properties of input field only. So they will give you the output whether they are true or false. Next, forms have the following states: pristine, dirty, we have already seen. No fields have been modified yet, that is pristine, dirty, modified, invalid, valid, submitted. Submitted means the form is submitted. Okay, so here is an example to show ng show with the $touched. Okay, let us execute and show this. I am refreshing the page. So try leaving the first input blank field. Okay, blank field. This is blank. We use ng show die to show only the error message. Ng show we have used here, right? So this is ng show. Okay, whether it is touched or not and whether it is valid or not. Okay, so here it has been touched and all. So suppose if I given here so the name is required. We use the ng show die to show only the error message. So this paragraph is getting printed. The field has been touched and is empty. Okay, name we have given here as required also. Required means you can't skip that field, compulsorily the user has to give the input there. What it is printing? The name is required. If at all you are giving the name, it is going. See, if it is blank, it is telling you the name is required. Okay, that means the error message, to show the error message. So, we are using this ng show. So, if it is, it will check whether that form is touched or not. Okay, and valid or not. When it is invalid, it is showing that error message will be displayed. When you are giving, that error message will go. Okay, that is a use of ng show and also touched or untouched input fields. Then there is a small form validation program, and this validation program is containing some login page. So here we have given ng app with user validation app. That is the ng app name. Controller, user controller we have given, and some heading. Okay, then form name, just try to understand. Form name we have given login form. Submit form. ng submit is again an event handler directive which is used to when some action is when an interrupt occurred, some action should perform. What is interrupt here? Submit form will be, when submit button is clicked, the submit form will be activated. So label for username. So this is a username. Input type text username. So username you will get some text. The name you have given is username, and this is required, means you can't skip, you can't make this field empty. You have to give the input compulsorily. Span ng show login form username touched, login form username error dot required. What is this? Show. That means if it is empty, it will show that username is required. Here you will get a message, username is required, because this is empty. Suppose if you are giving some input, this will not be displayed. Okay, so try to understand. ng show is used to display the error message when the input field is empty. What is this input field? Username. If it is empty, so this is shown here. Login form dot user. What is login form? Your form name. What is login form? Your form name. Username, your name of the input type. $touched. Touched means whether the input is given or not, or empty. And means both the conditions should be true. When it is touched and error required, if error message is required, then this message will be printed there. Similarly, we are giving for one for username, one for password, and also login form password touched, login form required. So you have one for username and one for the password. So this is the output you will get up to this content. Okay. Now show invalid credentials, because both are empty here. Both are empty means invalid credentials or wrong input, wrong output. Style color equals to red. When there is a invalid credential, in the red color font, it is displaying invalid username or password. Please try again. Okay. When it will happen, input type equals submit login. You will have so submit button also here, or login button. Login you have given. Okay, login button. Then what we are giving here, Angular.module. Angular.module is used to create a module with the user validation app. What is your user validation app here? User app validation app, we have given it for ng app. The name of ng app should be given for ng module also. So that we have given. As this is a new module, we are giving an empty array. Then controller, user controller, this is the name that we have given for ng controller. Then function scope, scope.username. Initially, this page will have empty only. So that is the reason we are giving scope.username empty, scope.password also empty. Okay. But after giving the input, it has to show whether it is login successful or invalid message. This message, invalid username or password. Whenever this invalid username password is displayed, this has to be displayed in the red color because that is a error message. Where we are showing that it should be displayed in red color using style color equals to red. Okay. So, initially it is empty. And here we are giving constant, means username is constant, it cannot be changed. Constant, valid username, user123, valid password, password123. Now here scope, invalid credentials, false, and submit form function. Submit form, what is the submit form here? Submit form, we have given it for, here. ng submit, we have given a submit form. So that submit form is binding here with this scope. Okay, submit form. This function is going to execute. What is there in this function? It is going to check the condition whether that username is valid username or not. That username, valid username is user123. So here it should be user123 and here it should be pass123. So if these two are given, then only it will display an alert message. Alert message means what? With the some text box with this message, login successful. If this is not correct, if this user 1, 2, 3, 4 is given, here this is 4 is given, then what you will get? Then the output will be what? Invalid username password. When it will be login successful? Only when user 1, 2, 3, password 1, 2, 3 are given here, then that alert message will be displayed. Okay. So this is how you have to write, else you have to make that invalid credentials true. Initially they are false because it is empty, and when you are giving the input, then your state is changed to true. So here we are changing the we are checking the validation along with the state also, form validation along with the state validation. Okay. So let me show you this execution. Don't worry that the code is very heavy. It's okay if you understand the context. Just we are stepwise, if you see, we have just given the link for our AngularJS, then body div with two directives, ng app and ng controller, where we'll use them in the module part. Then what is required? We require a form. So just we are moving for a form with two inputs. So one is for username and one is for password. So in this we are going to use what field names, and we are making this mandatory. So required we are making. So required, when you are making, you are just giving there the error message that username is required and password is required. Okay. Then this one, to give the error messages and whether that is input is empty initially or not. So we are just assigning that input is empty initially. So here is where we are just giving. So input is empty, and invalid credentials, if it is invalid, your error message should get printed in red color. So style also we have given color red, and one submit button. So till now only the front page, means what is to be displayed, that only we have given here. Then what is required? What is a username and password you have to consider. So we are making constant username password values here. So that we are checking with the if conditions whether the same username and password are given or not. So to do that, we have given a constant username, constant password, invalid credentials. Initially the state is false, then after that it will become true. Submit the form. When a form submit means submit button is clicked, okay, login button is clicked, then this function has to be executed. What is there inside the function? You are checking the condition using if, whether username is valid username, whether scope password is valid password. What is this valid username, valid password? User123 and password 123. Okay. Else your state has to change to true. Clear? So just let me run. The username has been taken, password is given. So they are empty now. I am clicking on login. So what this field out, please fill out this field. So I am just giving other input and other password. Just click on login. So this is the error message. What has happened? Invalid username or password, please try again. You are getting in red color because we have given the styling. Suppose if you give user 123, these are constant values that we have defined. So pass 123. Just click on login. Login successful, welcome. We have given alert box. So you are not getting this here. You are getting in the alert box. So click OK. Login successful, welcome user 123. Understood? This is how we have to do the form validation. Very much, it plays a very important role in all the applications that we develop, because without validation, we can't give registration forms, we can't give login pages. So, in this session, we have discussed about the form validation with different form states and also different input states, and form validation example also we have seen. Hope you all understood. Thank you all.